Hello, everyone. This is David, and we are diving into a controversial topic in bioethics. We are talking about therapeutic cloning. At first glance, it may seem like an incredible breakthrough in medicine. After all, the idea of cloning stem cells to treat diseases like Parkinson or spinal cord injuries sounds like a miracle. But from bioethical perspective, things get complicated. And the number one, the destruction of human embryos. This is the first topic that we are talking about. Therapeutic cloning involves creating an embryo just to extract its stem cells, ultimately destroying in the process. Here's to the ethical dilemma. It is justifiable to create human life only to end it. May argue that human embryos, even at the earliest stages, deserve moral considerations. If we respect human life, we must ask, where do we draw the line? Therapeutic cloning relies on somatic cell nuclear transfer, a process where a human X nucleus is replaced with a genetic material of a donor. This creates an embryo that is genetically identical to the donor, which is then allowed to develop for a few days until its stem cells are extracted. At this stage, the embryos or the embryo is destroyed. From a bioethical standpoint, this raises a fundamental question. What moral status should we grant to the human embryo? So, the beginning of human life, one of the strongest arguments against therapeutic cloning is a human life begins at conception, the moment an embryo is formed. While some argue that an early stage embryo lacks consciousness, pain perception, or individuality, others point out that it already possessed a genetic blueprint for a fully developed human being. It left to develop naturally. It has a potential to grow into a person. If we accept that life has intrinsic value from the very beginning, then deliberately creating embryos only to destroy them for medical purposes is ethical questionable. It violates the principle of respect for humans' life, which is a cornerstone of bioethics. If we are talking about the instrumentation of humans being, the therapeutic cloning treats human embryos as mere tools for a medical research rather than an entities with moral worth. This concept is known as instrumentation, using a human being subtly as a means to an end. This goes against Kantian ethics, which implies two human beings should always be treated as ends themselves, never just a means to any external goals. If we justify using embryos for research, we set a precedent where human life can be manipulated and sacrificed for scientific progress. While stop from us extending this logic to later stages of human development. If we are talking about the ethical inconsequence, there's also a contradiction in medical ethics. While medicine strives to save lives, therapeutic cloning destroys early human life in the name of the helping others. This creates an ethical paradox. Can we justify killing one from a human life or to save another one? Many will argue that the moral cost is too high. In second place, we have the slippery slope to reproductive cloning. One, we accept creating clone embryos for research. What stops us from using them for reproduction? This could open the door to cloning full human beings, raising concerns about individual identity, autonomy, and exploration. If science allows it, will society be able to regulate this property? History shows us that once technology is available, it's difficult to control its issue. One of the biggest ethical concerns surrounding therapeutic cloning is that I could favor to the faith to the reproductive cloning, whether intentionally or accidentally. Once we accept the practice of cloning embryos or medical research, it becomes increasingly difficult to draw to clear ethical and legal boundary preventing their use to reproductive purposes. If we are talking about the commodification of human life, this is another major concern. Is therapeutic cloning could turn human embryos into more biological products, reducing life to research. This could lead to a market where the embryos are bought and sold, favoring the wealthy and depending social inequalities. Are we comfortable living in a world where human life is treated as a commodity? I don't know. One of the most troubling bioethical concerns about the therapeutic cloning is that it risks reducing human life to the commodity, something that can be created, used, bought, and sold for a medical commercial purposes. When we start viewing human embryos as raw materials for research, we risk understanding the fundamental idea that human life has intrinsic dignity and value. In conclusion, we can say therapeutic cloning may promise medical progress, but at what cost? The destruction of embryos, the risk of reproductive cloning, and the commodification of human life makes a dangerous path. Science should move forward, but always with respect for human dignity and ethical boundaries.